And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Taking a look at the marine forecast, starting with the ice edge. Talking with the ice forecaster today. He was surprised about all the warm waters coming out of the McKenzie River, eroding some of that ice from the east, otherwise generally clearing ice conditions down through the Bering Strait and into the Beaufort Sea. And then for Tuesday's marine forecast for southeast Alaska, winds generally from a variable direction, 15 to 20 with seas as high as 3 feet. Outside waters, winds generally from the west at 10 to 15 with seas as high as 5 feet. And then for Wednesday's marine forecast, for the inside waters, winds generally from a variable direction, 5 to 10 with seas as high as 2 feet. So a very good time to be in the inside waters in southeast Alaska. And then for the outside waters, winds generally from a variable direction, 5 to 10 with seas as high as 4 feet. For south central, Tuesday, looking at winds generally from an easterly direction, including Prince William Sound, up to 10 with seas as high as 4 feet. In the Gulf region, winds up to around 20 to 25. And then for the Cook Inlet region, winds generally from a northerly direction, 15 to 20, with seas as high as 5 feet. And then for Wednesday, looking at winds generally light and variable, up to 10, with seas as high as 4 feet, down along the Gulf region, Gulf Coast region. And then for the Cook Inlet region, winds generally from a variable direction up to 10 with seas as high as 3 feet. Then for Tuesday, across the Alaska Peninsula, Kodiak Island, winds around Kodiak Island generally from a northerly direction, 20 to 25 with seas as high as 7 feet there in Shelkoff Strait. And then for the Southside Alaska Peninsula, winds generally from a northeasterly direction, or northwesterly direction, and then up to 25 with gusts of 40, so look for small craft or gales there on the southern end of that Alaska Peninsula. And then for the north side of the Alaska Peninsula, winds generally from the northwest at 20 with seas as high as 4 feet. Then for Wednesday, winds across this area anywhere between 15 to 25 there around Kodiak Island, with seas as high as 5 feet to 6 feet there around Kodiak Island. On the north side of the Alaska Peninsula, winds generally from a northwesterly direction up to 15 with seas as high as 3 feet. And then for the Aleutian Chain, looking at winds generally from a variable direction, with winds generally from a southerly direction, 15 to 20 with seas as high as 5 feet, 6 feet out there between Kiska and Shimia. And then for Aleutian Chain on Wednesday, winds generally from a southerly direction up to 30, but mainly 15 to 25 across that central and eastern Aleutians, even 10 to 15 up the eastern Aleutians. But look for gales or small craft there in the western Aleutians with seas up to 12, even anywhere between 9 and 12 feet there. And then for back through the west coast on Tuesday, winds generally from a northwesterly direction, 10 to 15, with seas as high as 5 feet in the Pribilofs. And then for Wednesday, looking at winds generally from a variable direction, 10 to 25, with seas as high as 8 feet there around the Pribilofs. And then for the Arctic coast, winds generally from a easterly or westerly direction across the Beaufort Sea, and then down through the Chukchi Sea, winds generally from the west at 5 to 10, and then down through the Bering Strait, 10 to 15, with seas as high as 4 feet. And then for Wednesday's marine forecast for the Arctic coast, along the Beaufort Sea coast, winds generally from a westerly direction up to 10, with areas near the open waters there up to 2 feet, and then down through the Chukchi Sea, winds generally from a southerly direction, 10 to 20, with seas as high as 4 feet, and then down through the Bering Strait, winds generally from a southerly direction, 15 to 20, with seas as high as 4 feet. And as we look at the surface map, again, Tuesday's weather, looking at the low in the Gulf of Alaska, driving some rain showers in that area. Weak trough continues to press eastward through the mainland. Otherwise, a ridge of high pressure pokes into the Bering Sea, driving some clearing and drying conditions across the west coast. And then for Wednesday's weather, next low comes into the Bering Sea. Ridge of high pressure makes it onto the west coast, driving some very nice weather expected across much of the west and southwest and even into south central Alaska.